Shauna, just when you thought reality TV couldn't get any sleazier, CBS is introducing a new reality TV show called The Briefcase. It's what I call poverty porn. Basically, you have two financially strapped families who are either going to show how altruistic they are, giving the money to the other people, or to show you how greedy they are by taking it away from them. And this really disturbed me. There's even a show in Britain called Britain's Hardest Grafter, where you're going to have them do a bunch of crazy tasks in order to get wages for a year. So, how do you feel about this, that we're looking at people in poverty and treating them this way?
I wrestled with this when I saw the articles and some clips, and I did some digging because it really left a nasty taste in my mouth. But then I had to stop and think, well, wait a minute, we've been exploiting the poor for sport for quite some time. I mean, you don't see kids that are well-to-do just clamoring to play football on the fields as actively. You have a situation where you have kids that are usually lower to middle income, and they are literally abusing their bodies for a chance to make it out of their financial situation. And out of the hundreds of thousands that will hit the field in literally what I would say is a modern day Coliseum type setup, only a handful of them are actually going to make it. And so we're very comfortable exploiting the poor. Game shows, we like it when people are a little bit different, they're odd, they're quirky, they desperately need the money. That makes for good entertainment. So is this that much more disgusting, or is it just that much more honest?
Well, maybe it's not more honest, but more obvious.
Right.
Maybe that's it. Because I do agree with you. We've been having this sort of gladiator-like setting. Sports are very much that. But
Right.
this is making it much more. It is making it much more obvious in terms of the gladiators in the Coliseum, as you put it. That we're sitting there sort of applauding, or are we laughing at, or is this supposed to make us feel
Right.
better than? I mean, what is the point? What is the point of the exercise? And anybody, who is producing something like this is certainly going to say, well, no, our motive is to show you
Right.
how altruistic people can be. I think that's nonsense. If you want to show me how altruistic people can be, why don't you just say, here's a check for $100,000 and, let's go see what you do with it. And by the way, we're going to make sure you have money anyway. I mean, I don't understand. They make billions of dollars. I don't understand what the point is. And I still think this is sort of advocating looking at a train wreck.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as exploiting that altruism, again, that's been done for quite some time. My parents and grandparents grew up extremely poor. My grandfather was a farmer. And, when they would go to church, the ability to tithe, which is what their church practiced, and
Right.
give 10% of what they earn. I mean, I've seen my grandmother cry at the idea of, should she be a good person and give to others that need it, or should she have enough for her own family at the end of the day? And that type of emotional blackmail, I really resent. And that to me was the most disgusting thing. If people want to sign up for a show and have a shot at something, and if nothing else, break up the monopoly and the monotony and the tediousness of how horrific it can feel to be poor, fine, sign up, do what you want. It's your life. It's a free country. But if to make them look like they're terrible people because they want to do for their families first, that I found disgusting.
No, I agree. And I think that that's another part of this for me is the voyeuristic element. That I think
Right.
is what bothers me about reality television altogether. I mean, there was a program that used to be around called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Right.
And that was one of the only reality programs that I actually liked because there was a sense of, oh, somebody is not doing the best that they can for themselves. And these guys actually find a way to help them. And it felt kind of positive to me. And it didn't feel like you were laughing at somebody. And
Right.
I really object to the voyeuristic element because, the whole society is like that. We're so crazed about being in our Blackberries and, the Twitter, tweeting everything that's going on for us. And I just think that you are looking at the train wreck at the side of the road. And I really
Yeah.
have a problem with that.
What's also disturbing about what you said is the fact that this seems to be a trend. It's not operating
Right.
inside of a vacuum. There's a new show on CBS, like you said, there's another show that's going to be on BBC. And so what worries me is if this does well, then this is going to be another thing where we're basically making people look like animals that perform on cue, and then we can just enjoy it, I suppose, from the comfort of our flat screen encased living rooms.
Well, speaking as an actor, it bothers me because the more reality TV, it's much cheaper to produce. face and you point the camera at somebody, and guess what? Then you don't have to hire professional actors. So
Oh,
selfishly
now we
speaking,
get to it.
I
She
don't
doesn't care about
I
the
don't like
poor.
it
No, I'm
either.
just kidding.
No, 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 that's not true. But I have also found that that's a different story. You're paid a union wage. I mean, think
Right.
about it. You're paid a union wage to stand up there, read a script, and entertain people, and that is your job. And you are
Right.
still respected for doing that. Whereas these people, believe me, they're being exploited, and the network is making a ton of money. They're not. And so I think that's the other thing. I think that the reality programming is a lot more exploitative, frankly, than having
Well,
regular entertainers. That's another reason
absolutely.
why it
Right.
upsets
Well,
me.
you bring up a really great point, and I kid with you, but at the end of the day, if you play a villain, you go home and everyone knows that's not Anita.
That's
If
right.
people on reality television are encouraged to do something for ratings, or, I mean, let's make no mistake, there are writers in the credits of these reality shows. If
That's
they're
right.
encouraged to do something, people think that that's them. And what's more damaging than losing money or time? It's their actual character and reputation. So I do think that this is really damaging because it's just like you say, very exploitive. And I will be interested to see how America responds. I know we'll be following it every step of the way.
Yes, this is a disturbing issue that I know we'll continue to follow. This is Shauna Virtue and Anita Finley. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Dare We Say.